Good afternoon. My name is Rodgers. I am the Administrative Secretary for the United Church of Zambia. The overall purpose of this position of Administrative Secretary is to provide technical support to the organization in formulating policies, rules, and procedures, and setting out goals and coming up with the strategies of achieving the set goals. The role also entails facilitating for the enforcement of the set rules by laying down the fundamental framework within which the management of an organization functions. And this also involves ensuring that the departments of this church, United Church of Zambia, are functioning in a coordinated manner. You may wish to know that this Synod Secretariat houses departments. We have the Finance Department, we have the Education Department, we have the Health Department, we have the Projects Department, we have the Communication Department, we have the Community Development and Social Justice Department, we have a full-fledged survey falling under the Projects Department, and of course my department, the Administrative Secretary's Department. So the many roles or functions for this office, first of all, is the area of policy formulation and strategic planning. You should be aware that for any organization to function properly, there must be rules and regulations, there must be policies that guide decision making. And so my role is to ensure that I provide the vital information through research, which information is used by management to come up with the policy guidelines and then procedures of how to make decisions as an organization. The next role that I have is that of recruitment. The office ensures that the organization is manned by the right number of staff members with the right qualifications and placed in positions where they are best utilized. And once the staff members are recruited, it is my role to ensure that these are oriented to their positions. Why do we have to orient staff? Everyone must be able to understand and know their responsibilities, and that's how they can be able to account for their actions. The other task that I have as Administrative Secretary is that of risk management. So I do facilitate in identifying the risks and coming up with measures of preventing loss or damage or avoiding such risks from occurring. So in the area of risk prevention, we ensure that in conjunction with the communication department, we come up with gadgets that will help us to curtail the damage that would arise as a result of maybe the power surges and all those things. So we put up measures to correct that. In terms of mitigating for the impacts, that's where we have the issues of insurance. So it's my role to ensure that we come up with insurance that covers property and so on. The other role that I have as Administrative Secretary is that of staff discipline. So it is the responsibility of my office to ensure that everyone in the organization is aware of the rules and regulations that these people are supposed to be following. And so discipline being corrective, we ensure that we sensitize people to be aware of the do's and don'ts, and where people violate the rules without knowing or by ignorance. So there are corrective measures that are taken, and the final part is punitive discipline, where education and correction measures prove ineffective. And we do these things in a systematic manner by coming up with committees and giving people leeway to appeal the decisions of the lower courts, and we ensure that everyone is availed this kind of information. The other role that I play is that of payroll management. So all the staff that are employed by the church have been given information about their entitlements. And so it's my role that at payday or before payday, I sit down with the people in finance and accounts to examine the payroll files to ensure if there are changes, people are being given some salary raises or maybe deductions of loans and so on. So I ensure that before the payroll is finally run, all these payroll inputs are scrutinized. The other important role that I play in this office is that of facilitating for work permits for expatriate staff. We have people that come to serve with the United Church of Zambia through exchange of human resource with our partner organizations. The UCZ at the moment is collaborating with the Council for World Mission, World Council of Churches, the United Church of Canada. We have the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. We have the UCCSA in South Africa. We have several other churches like the Churches of Christ in Malawi and so on. So we do have exchange visits of human resource, and so these people cannot work in Zambia without work permits. So it's my role to ensure that I facilitate for such. And the other role that I play is that of contracts management. We have several contracts that are running here. Some of them are to do with the leases for use of office space, for maybe security, garbage collection, and several other contracts. So it's my role to provide information so that we sign these contracts with the right clauses, right information, and ensuring that I monitor the performance of these contracts, and at the end of the day advise management whether the changes should be effected or not. The other important role that I play is that of leave management. We believe that all employees, after working 12 months and above, they must take a rest. And so we don't want to administer leave in an haphazard manner. So we come up with the leave roster, and I manage the leave roster in conjunction with the head of departments and the presbytery bishops. So the procedure is that the staff members submit their applications indicating the period of leave they would like to take, and then I check that the applications have been well done, and then pass them on to the General Secretary for signing. And if the General Secretary is not available, I sign those and communicate back to the staff members, and then ensuring that the staff members are paid the leave pay. The other important function is that of the annual appraisals. The church does come up with work plans for the following year. So every December, the heads of departments and the presbytery bishops under the chairmanship of the Synod Bishop and coordinated by the General Secretary, we meet and come up with tasks that will be performed the following year. And so it's my role to ensure that I facilitate for the practical logistics. And when we meet, we come up with the review of the performance of that particular year, and then plan for the following year. Appraisals are very, very important because they provide feedback to the staff members, and we use appraisal reports to make decisions affecting staff. People can be promoted, regraded, or transferred as a result of the reports from the appraisals. The system is such that we give employees an opportunity for them to say something about what they feel they have done, and thereafter the supervisors will scrutinize the reports, and then finally send to the General Secretary, and finally from the General Secretary will give feedback to the staff where we require to make some corrections. We'll be able to indicate. The other role that is played by this office is that of communication. So in conjunction with the Office of the Communication Secretary, I do prepare the speeches for the chief officers, the Synod Bishop and the General Secretary. And then I also draft communication between the General Secretary and the outside world. And also, once the General Secretary receives the information from outside, it is also passed on to me to give some advice on how best we can be able to communicate. So the tools that we have to use, we have to have the Constitution by ourselves, we have to have the rules and regulations by ourselves, and using the committee, the advisory board that the General Secretary and the Synod Bishop have come up with. Those are the people who advise us on the state of the nation. So we have economists there, we have lawyers, we have all sorts of caliber of people. And so when we are making communication, when we are communicating, we have to communicate in an informed manner. So it's my role in conjunction with the communication department to ensure that we communicate and communicate effectively. I have a role here of consolidating the annual reports of the church. So senior management does sit, and they present reports. The heads of department present reports, and I compile the reports together to make an annual report. So we are able to compare how we have performed in a particular year in comparison with the performance of the previous year. And I have a role of working closely with the General Secretary to ensure that the decisions of the church are implemented timely. The other role is that of managing the medical schemes for the staff members. The employees, their spouses, their family members, they have an entitlement of accessing medical facilities by the help of the church. So it's my role to ensure that these schemes are operating, and the services that we are consuming or accessing are paid for. So I do this in conjunction with the finance department. The other role that is enshrined in the Constitution of the United Church of Zambia is that through my office, I work hand in hand with the General Secretary to procure capital items. So capital items such as motor vehicles, capital items such as purchasing of immovable assets. That is my role. So I do that effectively by collecting the necessary information so that we buy at the right time and we derive value from the cost of the church. The other role that I play is that of liaison officer. So through the guidance of the General Secretary, I do coordinate with the international partners, organizing for meetings, organizing for seminars. I work hand in hand with the General Secretary. The other important role is that of staff development. We want to believe that technology is changing every day, and that people can only be effective if they are well abreast with the trends in the economy. And so we don't want our staff members to lag behind, so we put our staff on staff development. Some of the training opportunities, we find them ourselves. Some others, we do them in collaboration with our cooperating partners, and most of the time with the Council for World Mission, the Methodist Church in Britain, and so on and so on. So the staff development programs, sometimes they are initiated by staff members, and other times it will be the occupational needs that will be able to necessitate for us to place staff members on staff development. So all this can be achieved if the office holders, for this I mean myself, if I possess the necessary requisites for me to manage these things. So the question would be, who is Mr. Ngambi? And I want to take time and just say something about myself. I have a master's degree in human resource management by training, and I have done several other trainings, such as a bachelor's degree in communication and management studies. I have attended a higher national diploma in management studies. I have done several certificates in human resource management and industrial relations and trade union studies. I have trained in alternative dispute resolution, and because of this, I am an accredited mediator, and so I handle court cases that are referred to me by the High Court, mostly the Industrial Relations Division, and I am a commissioner for oath. At my congregation, I have been serving in the mainstream of leadership of the church, starting from Chingora, when I served as a youth leader. In Ndola, I served as a congregation secretary, a consistory secretary, and in Kitwe, when I was in Kitwe, I served as the presbytery MCF treasurer, and I am a TIS tutor and a catechumen leader. So that's what I've been doing. So for me, when I'm here, I'm doing church work. When I get back to my home, I continue doing church work as a leader in my congregation. I must say that I've enjoyed my work here at United Church of Zambia. Before joining the UCZ on my role, I worked for Zamtel, Zambia Telecommunication Company Limited. I rose through the ranks and ended up with the position of head of human resource for the southern region. So I was in charge of Lusaka province, southern province, western province, and eastern province. I resigned my job sometime in 2008 and joined an international organization called Center for Infectious Disease Research in Zambia, where I served as a human resource manager. And I resigned and joined the UCZ from 2010, and I've been around. So my favorite hymn is 175 from the UCZ hymn book. He Leadeth Me, that is the title. So I'll sing one verse and the chorus. Maybe I can sing one and three and the chorus. Kuminwele sanjikata dendo lwendo natata mumfifi na mukuta mitata ewanjikata anondola lesatata ninwe yakwe yanjikata imbe mukonshi wachine pantu anondola vine ngolwendo lwandinapwisha noluse lwenu lwamfisha kumwesu kondelola anondola lesatata minwe yakwe yanjikata imbe mukonshi wachine pantu anondola ine. Thank you very much.